Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight for the first of two Flip the Script teen showcases. My name is Abby Carlin Resnick. I'm the interim executive director for My Digital Tattoo, and I'm here with Rachie Lee, who is our director of curriculum and programs, and Omar Rivera, our teen empowerment program manager. Omar and Rachie are going to be moderating the event this evening. For those of you who are new to My Digital Tattoo, we're a nonprofit that helps young people navigate online complexities and think critically about the benefits and drawbacks of their digital use so that they can make healthy choices and be in control of their technology. In addition to the work that we do with schools, parents, and healthcare providers, we also work directly with high school students through our two teen empowerment programs, our summer internship program, as well as our year-long Youth Voices Advisory Board. And as part of the summer internship, our teens select and conduct extensive research on a technology-related topic of their choice. They then present that research, and it's featured right now, actually, on KQED's Media Showcase. We'll share a link to that in a little bit. But importantly, their research directly informs all of our curriculum content with students in 3rd through 8th grade, parents, and with healthcare providers. So tonight, we're really thrilled to bring three of those presentations to you tonight by Sophia, Samira, and Cailey in what we call Flip the Script. It's really an opportunity for us to learn directly from young people themselves and change those scripts that we have about technology and what it means for young people today. The format tonight, you're going to hear from each of our presenters back to back, and then we'll open it up from questions from you. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Omar to get us going.
Thank you, Abby. It's great seeing everyone here. Good evening. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving break. I am excited because we've had these amazing students, Sophia, Samira, Cailey, do incredible research in some great topics of their choice and present it to us and their intern peers this summer, 2024, in our ShiftCtrl internship. And it's just, all the presentations were just quality, amazing, informative. We love doing this Flip the Script event because we give our teens this chance to fully present their capstones again to this wider audience. So with that said, I think we're ready to get started, and I want to start off with Sophia presenting on the benefits of going outside.
Hi, I'm Sophia, and I will be presenting my presentation from the summer internship with My Digital Tattoo about going outside and the benefits. Just what I'm going to cover, these 5 basic topics with 5 basic questions seen here: physical health, self-perception, the benefits of going outside, etc. So let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is physical health. A lot of times we talk about how social media can affect your mental and emotional health, but we never really hone in on the physical components of it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I just had a quick question of how many of you feel unwell after going on your screen for a while? Your eyes kind of ache, your back's hurting, your neck is tight. That's because the screen does a lot of bad things for you in terms of your body. From too much sedentary activity, you have a higher risk of obesity, your sleep problems, because going on the screen right before bed, it upsets your circadian rhythm and things like that. And of course, back and neck problems from posture. I don't have good posture right now. I'm sure many of us don't, but yep. And then brain, obviously language development. If you're on the screen, the best way to learn a language is through talking and speaking and listening. And you can't really do that if it's just written out for you. Decreased attention span, which is I thought was really interesting, how I think children who spend more than 2 hours a day on their screen have lower test scores and language development scores. And kids who spend 7 hours a day actually thin their cortex. And of course, social cues, you learn how to be social through in-person interactions. And who do we learn that best from? Our parents. Okay, but my next slide is a bit more serious. It's about body dysmorphia, eating disorders. So if anyone has any issues with that, it's totally okay. Just step away, take a break. It's no worries. But self-perception, what can online content do to the relationship with our body, and how does that, again, affect us in the more physical terms? There are many things online that actually encourage these unhealthy behaviors, especially with eating and your body. For example, there's a body mass index calculator app, which calculates your BMI through only your height, age, and weight. As seen here, it only gives very few details, and it's not accurate. And then again, with unrealistic standards, we've all seen the Photoshop, the editing your pictures, things like that. These people aren't really showing their true selves, but the viewers want to be like them and to look like them, and it just really creates unrealistic beauty standards. Recently, there's been the development of using Ozempic as a use for weight loss, even though it's a type 2 diabetes drug. And it's not very healthy. It keeps off your weight, but when you go off of it, you gain it all right back. And there's people like these TikTokers they look perfectly healthy. They don't have diabetes, but they're encouraging the use of drugs to alter their body. And of course, this one can subconsciously really affect a lot of teenagers online with TikTok accounts that encourage eating disorders. There's some that are like, oh, back when I weighed 100 pounds and I lost my period. It's not healthy, but people glorify it. People make it seem great that they're losing weight, but you're really just affecting your body long term. So what can we do? Obviously, there's no resolution, but we can find ways to diminish the intensity of these issues. For example, we have to go back in time. 1990s, everyone, playing outside, and they're with their friends, they're solving issues on their own, they're not supervised, they got to grow up with each other. And in the 2020s, it's a lot more isolated inside time with constant supervision, always on the screen, never really going outside and getting that exposure that you need. And I looked these two photos up on Google with the same search. So I'm not lying, I promise. We really need to go back in time. I recommend this podcast from the Huberman Lab with Dr. Jonathan Haidt. They talk about the effects of the screen and how, like I said, we need to step back and go outside some more. So how can we do that? Just go outside, even just a nice little walk with your dogs around the neighborhood. Going outside, it affects so many things about you. You lower your risks of obesity and your cardiovascular disease. You get your vitamin D from the sun. You get to exercise and release endorphins. There's actually a therapy called ecotherapy, which is just doing activities outside to decrease the intensity of depression. Self-esteem, you just get to unplug for a sec. I know after vacation, I have to come back and go on to all my emails and all the assignments I have to do. I'm very stressed, but going outside and just walking, it feels a lot better. Even some of our other interns from this summer said that they wish they could go outside more. They feel overwhelmed from all of social media and just staying outside and feeling lazy and sedentary. But of course, we live in a digital age. We need that balance. The screens are taking over, but they don't really have to take over everything. So just go outside for like 2 hours a week, get up, do like a nice morning walk. My family goes on walks with our new dog, so it's pretty fun. And of course, you can spend any other time doing whatever you want. Just make sure that you're cautious about how much time you're spending inside. And there's actually apps to get off of apps, which is quite ironic. But there's, screen time on your settings, and there's other apps, which I really like. For example, Forest. You plant a tree and then you grow the tree as you do a specific task. And then if you lose focus or you go off the app, then your tree dies. You don't want to kill a tree. And they actually give back to the community. They plant real trees on Earth. So you guys are saving the community, saving yourself. Just go focus and hop off your screen. But what can we take away? Many things, but go outside, less screen time. Again, I'm not saying screen time is bad. I'm just saying we need to be aware of the effects that it has on us. Obviously, it's not bad. We're all here right now on the screen, but it's a great idea that I'm trying to give you of just be aware of how the time you spend on your screen is affecting you. Are you benefiting from watching 50 minutes of Instagram Reels before bed? Or would you much rather read a book, talk to your partner, etc.? And like I said, the balance, there's a 25 rule where you spend some time outside during this amount of time, etc., etc. And of course, be patient. We all have to use a screen. Um, it's a part of our world, technology, AI, etc. Be nice, be patient, still use it, but use other things as well to bring back the joy and the non-artificial benefits of life. So thank you. That is all I have. Thanks.
That's amazing. We're all giving you a round of applause, Sophia. And for Sophia's family who's here tonight, you should be so proud of how much research and time and effort Sophia put into her work. And we'll have a chance. I know we have lots of questions and lots of comments for Sophia. Please take a moment and jot that down. And then we're going to have a chance in the end to ask her. Okay, great job, Sophia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sophia. Fantastic work. And I think we are ready for our next presenter today, which is Cailey. And I'm going to share my screen for you. I got you there. All right, Cailey, the floor is yours.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Cailey, and this is my presentation from the My Digital Tattoo Summer Internship, and it is on Sephora Tweens. So on our agenda today, I'm first going to talk about the background. So what exactly are Sephora Tweens? Second, I'm going to talk about the marketing and the influence of social media. Third, I'm going to talk about dangers and the harmful ingredients in these makeup products. And fourth, I'm going to talk about the different parenting that goes into this. So first, we are going to be talking about background. So first of all, what are Sephora Tweens? So these are young children or young teens who shop at different makeup stores, skin product stores. They'll post hauls, videos, and self-care routines on TikTok, Instagram, any social media app. And they also, unfortunately, tend to destroy the in-store testers. So, according to CBC News, Sephora Tweens refers to the children and tweens who shop at the beauty retailer, sometimes posting videos of their hauls and skincare routines online, much like the influencers they follow. And much of these products would include like the Sol de Janeiro body mist or the famous Laneige sleeping masks or the Glow Recipe watermelon toner or a lot of the Drunk Elephant skincare products. So I have for you a clip from a news video that I included.
Viral clips have been going around of kids going in Sephora making a big mess.
Yes, it's a thing, and some TikTokers are documenting the problem online. It would seem packs of preteens are flocking to Sephora and using all the samples.
So that was an example of them destroying the makeup testers. So I will move on to second, which is social media. So here are some social media ads taken from Instagram from different, so we see Sephora and we also see a different, I think that's Ulta Beauty. And some things that I realized was that they use a lot of appealing bright colors. And so when these teens and these children see it, it'll appeal to their eyes and they'll copy what they see online. So not pictured here, but there's a lot of older girls who use these makeup and products and they're usually like marketing ads, which you can see on TikTok. And with all these bright colors and appealing descriptions, they'll want to buy it. And additionally, with like teens getting older, they'll have a circle of friends who can peer pressure, who they'll feel peer pressure to, fitting in or being accepted by using these products. So I included two side-by-side videos. On the left is a Get Ready With Me from Kylie Jenner, and on the right is a little girl who tends to be almost copying her.
It cut off, which is just fabulous. But I'm using this Mario bronzer. I just put it on in shade medium.
My ColourPop highlighter is the brand ColourPop, and you can find it at Ulta or Target. That's the only places I've seen it, but that's where you can find ColourPop. So this.
And then I just want to take a second. If you guys could put anything you notice in the chat, anything that strikes you, is interesting, is alarming, anything that you can compare from these two videos. We'll take a second. Yeah, so I see Samira and people are saying that there's a mom in the video and it's almost like she's encouraging her daughter to use these products. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot about the parenting, which we will get to later. But I want to move on to the next slide, which is talking about FOMO, which is also known as the fear of missing out. And it's defined as anxiety that an exciting or interesting event may be currently be happening elsewhere, often aroused by posts seen on social media. So basically, these kids are seeing these videos on social media and everywhere online, and they're copying these famous influencers and also other celebrities, but they're also destroying Sephora's products. And according to the Social Media Law Victim Center, children with FOMO tend to lack self-confidence in real-life situations and are more likely to be unhappy and low social contentment, which is usually why they'll want to fit in no matter how harmful it may be for them. But then this brings up the question of what about like self-expression or like gender norms? And this is why this topic is such a huge debate in today's society, because it's a question of how young is too young to be introduced to makeup and skincare. Because makeup is also seen as self-expression, and it's been the same sort of like female gender norms. And because like females tend to look like presentable because it emphasizes our beauty. And that kind of internalizes standards and leads to makeup being thought of as typical or something expected to use at such an early age. Okay, so next I'm going to move to the dangers. So in these products, they contain retinoids and hydroxy acids, which can lead to, rashes, itchiness, chemical burns. And a lot of these products, like the Drunk Elephant products, they contain retinol, which would promote anti-aging, which is why a lot of adults and older people use them. But it's actually, if the kids use them, it's the reverse effect, which is why it's pro-aging. So it's a question of like, why would kids want to use these products if they don't need them and they're taking it away from the people who they would benefit more from them? Because according to like different doctors and stuff, like the dermatologists relate stories of tweens developing red itchy rashes, and it's just not beneficial to their skin at such a young age, especially when the products are like $100. It just doesn't make any sense. Next slide, please. And of course, these businesses, previous slide, please. Businesses are profiting from all of this hype and all of these skincare makeup trends from these kids, because despite the dangers, they tend to feed into it, which is just an example of consumerism at its finest. So next, I'm going to move to parenting, and I included another clip, which if you could play. Thank you.
All she wants for the holidays is, well, not toys, but skincare products.
All I wanted this year was skincare and makeup.
11-year-old Olivia Clyde is obsessed with beauty products. She showed us her routine.
The first step is I put on my toner.
I think social media has a lot to do with it. So I think Instagram, TikTok, sharing things on social media, watching YouTubers, celebrities' children.
When I was interviewing parents, I had one dad tell me that he's spending $1,000 a month on his daughter's skincare habit.
When I went to take her to buy skincare products, I think I had a little bit of sticker shock and just how much things cost.
Yeah, so this mom is aware of how much these products cost. So these actions and behaviors, this early spark comes from children often wanting to imitate their parents because, for example, if their mom regularly uses makeup, they'll see this as like a normal thing. So this model and behavior contributes to how often the makeup is being used and the types of products chosen. And that's why the children want to use it so early, is because of their influence. But also the parents have control of what the children can access, what age they can be exposed to social media. So if they're exposed at an early age, they're going to be wanting it at that age instead of if the parent chooses to give them the social media later, which is another impact. Another thing is the way parents talk about makeup, because if they think like, oh, all natural, no makeup, don't use it, the kids won't have a desire to use it at all. But then again, if they have any cultural or family values related to appearance or gender roles or self-expression, it may be seen as like an acceptable way to express femininity, or like if there's a different focus on just the natural beauty. So I think just in summary, it's the parents who play the key role in setting boundaries and also providing guidance about when and how much to use makeup and at what age is appropriate for their kid. So on the next slide, I included another video, which is showing another parent's parenting style.
Right, next, do you use this one?
No. I don't need it yet, so I use it for decoration too, and I use it when I get older, so.
Okay, is this yours?
No.
Whose is it?
Mom.
When can you use it?
When my mom says I can.
So I just want to take another minute for you guys to share your thoughts in the chat. So, hey, what are your opinions? How does this compare to the other child and her mom in the background? Yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of people saying this is more acceptable, I think. So I'm just gonna wrap up here. So I think just in conclusion, parents should always just be aware and in control of their children's social media use and the types of content they're watching. Use the products right for you and don't destroy in-store testers. And I think like society as a whole should encourage positive actions to creating environments in which the younger generations can grow up feeling confident and in their own natural beauty. And just an example of how consumerism isn't always good. Thank you.
Amazing job, Cailey. Thank you so much. So much thoughts, and you've given us a lot to think about. And also your presentation really brought us in to the feeds to see what other young people are exposed to, which it could be really different, from our feeds. And so thank you for doing that. And we have lots of questions for you as well.
Fabulous, fabulous work, Cailey. And I think we are ready for our final presenter before we get into Q&A. So let's bring up Samira for her presentation on overconsumption, specifically on a particular social media that we are all familiar with. So Samira, the stage is yours.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Samira, and I decided to do my project on TikTok and how it fuels overconsumption. So first off, what is overconsumption? I think this is really important just to get a clear understanding. So overconsumption refers to when a consumer overuses their available goods and services and they purchase multiple items before it's quote unquote used up. So a lot of examples I see on social media of this are, for example, the Stanley Cup. So a Stanley Cup is reusable. So theoretically, you should never need more than one. Yet many people choose to buy many, many Stanleys and form a collection. And another example of this is makeup. So I put the Rare Beauty one specifically because I often see people buy many, many shades of this blush in particular of Rare Beauties, even though I've never seen anyone actually finish it because it's a lot of product. So when we think about TikTok and how this contributes to overconsumption, the first influence is influencers. So many people know what influencers are, I'm sure, but they're people that are either paid by a company to advertise products to their audience or they earn a commission from the items they sell. So when we talk about earning a commission from the items they sell, this is through TikTok Creator Fund. So there are requirements for TikTok Creator Fund. A person must have at least 10,000 followers and receive a minimum of 100,000 views in the last 30 days. On the other hand, promotions can happen through just paid promotions and collaborations with brands. And this is just direct money and contract with the influencer. Another way influencers can also promote products is through PR packages. So these are just free products that brands will send to influencers and hope that they'll somehow promote it on their page. And they often rave about a product that they got for free. So it does make you kind of question how much they actually like the product that they're not necessarily paying for. And popular influencer that I always think about, even though she's not as relevant today, is Charli D'Amelio, because I think a lot of people know her and she was very popular in 2019. And I think she's just a really good example of someone that started off on TikTok and ended up making a lot of money and a career out of it. Today, a popular influencer is Nara Smith. And also just in general, there's lots of high school girls, middle school girls that have Get Ready With Me accounts that I often see have several thousand followers on TikTok, which I think is really interesting because these are young people really making money off of TikTok. And a lot of times audiences, and especially young audiences, don't realize how much these TikTokers are making off of kind of cultivating that genuine culture or genuine connection with their viewers. And the next influence I have is micro trends. So these are fast trends that last about a month instead of a full season like typical fashion trends do. And so when I think about micro trends and I think others think about it, they think about big fluffy bucket hats, animal print bags, chunky jewelry. And micro trends end up going viral on TikTok, but then they fade away in a short few weeks. And this causes people to then go for the next thing, the next micro trend, and keep chasing that. But then they die out very fast. So this leads to overconsumption. Now, the final influence I chose to look at was TikTok Shop. And TikTok Shop is really interesting to me, so that's why I wanted to include it. But creators can essentially purchase products through the TikTok Shop at a discounted price if they have a coupon. And then once they buy a product, they can actually make content themselves promoting this product so they can earn a commission. And the app makes it accessible for any and all creators to do this, unlike the TikTok Creator Fund, which does have like qualifications that you must reach. So any TikToker can simply film a video and attach a link to a product underneath, which has made it easier than ever for everyday people to be influencers and make money off of social media. So out of all of these influences, I chose to take a deeper dive at TikTok Shop. And the reason I did this is because it's fairly new. It was launched in September of 2023, which makes it just a little over a year old. And influencers have been around for a while, as well as microtrends. Influencers have been on other social media platforms and on TikTok for a while. Now, if you want to go ahead and go in the chat, if there's anything that TikTok has made you purchase, either through an influencer or the TikTok Shop. Freeze-dried Skittles, I've seen that a lot on TikTok, right? Lots of friends have bought stuff on TikTok Shop. Yeah, I personally have not bought something on TikTok Shop, but I know many friends that have. So next, I chose to kind of just map out how TikTok Shop actually works. So people essentially just have to open a TikTok business account, and they open a TikTok Shop account and link it to their own TikTok account. And then they can buy products, find them, and then earn a commission if they make a video. So it's pretty simple for anyone to use. Now, after this kind of realization that I wanted to dive deeper into TikTok Shop, I kind of chose to look at some statistics and do a little bit of research. And all these numbers are reported from 2023. But just to put in perspective how much TikTok Shop and just TikTok in general just generates so much money, the most startling statistic, I think, is that $3.84 billion in consumer spending worldwide is generated by TikTok alone. So this is TikTok Shop, influencers, everything, which is just crazy to think about how much influence this app has. So after that, I chose to kind of gather some qualitative data. So I decided to interview people that I knew that were TikTok Shop users. And some of these people bought only one item. Some of them purchased many. Some of them purchased one item and then went back to buy more. But kind of just this overview, I found a lot of things to be similar out of these 5 survey or interviews in 5 participants. I found that oftentimes each participant did not buy multiple of the same product, so not including multiple clothing pieces. But for example, the girl that bought a Stanley water bottle, she only purchased one. So this is an item I said that a lot of people would end up buying more than one of, even though the whole point is that you don't need to buy another one because it's reusable. And then each participant was not looking to spend high amounts of money. None of the participants spent over $60. The highest was $60. 4 out of 5 participants reported using coupons on TikTok Shop. 4 out of 5 participants also saw one or more videos promoting a product that led them to purchase it. So they didn't just go on TikTok Shop randomly and purchase an item. The one person I think that didn't see a video had their friend recommend it. So all of these were recommended products either through TikTok or a friend. So I think that's really interesting to think about, that no one's going directly on TikTok Shop to buy something as you would do, for example, Amazon. So really, why does this matter and what does this mean? Well, I basically found that TikTok Shop is not the main influence of overconsumption on the app. And this is because the demographic that is purchasing on TikTok Shop is not looking to spend high amounts of money. They're looking for cheap alternatives or options rather than purchasing from more expensive online stores such as Amazon or a direct retailer. So I set out to explain how TikTok Shop has an effect on overconsumption, yet my research has led me to a different path. So with that, let's circle back to influencers. So according to a study conducted in March of 2024, influencers are a major cause of consumer purchases for a variety of reasons. The study explains that exposure to influencer collaborations boosts brand awareness, while engagement with influencer content increases purchase intentions. So trust in influencers also leads to more actual purchases. Now, this is really important because influencers offer loyalty, and shoppers can really feel like they can trust the product recommendation of someone they've been following for a long time, rather than a random person that pops up on their For You page with a commission link to a product. To quote Oscar Wilde, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So many people look up to influencers and want to be like them. And it's really important to understand that these influencers are getting sent products for product reviews. So they're getting sent multiple of, say, Rare Beauty blush. So then this kind of promotes that, oh, a person needs multiple of this blush. So then it leads others to buy the same or multiples of the same blush in different shades, even though this person themselves isn't buying these products, they're getting sent them. Now, this is also unlike TikTok Shop, where to earn a commission, people have to buy a product first in order to promote it. So they're not buying this product, like I mentioned before. And it's also important to understand that influencers are not just selling a product, they're selling a lifestyle, truly. So theoretically, if TikTok users are looking strictly to purchase on a TikTok, they could just go to a page like this, the TikTok Shop comedy, and simply just go through and find products to buy. But instead, they're gearing towards these influencers. And we can look at the engagement here and see that Nara Smith has way more engagement than this random TikTok Shop page. So really, why does this matter? Our consumer habits have both positive and negative impacts that we must be aware of. While purchasing, of course, fuels our economy, the environmental and ethical impacts cannot be ignored. The production habits of many brands, especially third-party businesses seen on TikTok, are unknown or overlooked. They often use cheap child labor in foreign countries, which is one of the factors that creates such low prices. And because clothing is cheaply made, it does not last very long and ends up in landfills quicker. Considering that the clothing is made of synthetic fibers or artificial fibers, they are chemically produced fibers like polyester, nylon, acrylic, PVC, and rayon. It contributes to lots of microplastics, which take 500 to 1,000 years to decompose. So if our consumer habits do not change, future generations will be left to clean up our mess. So I urge you all to be aware of the purchases you're making either directly through social media app or based off of influencer recommendations. Thank you.
Amazing job, everyone. Let's give our presenters a huge round of applause. Samira, that was amazing. You give us so much to think about. Wow.
Lots to think about. And I think this is a great time to get started on our Q&A session. I myself may have some questions too. Yes, no, I want to say I want to give a shout out to Abby's comment in the TikTok presentation about, I'm gonna quote her, "I appreciate these reminders about consumerism at this time of year." So relatable, Abby. Absolutely. We thank you, Samira, for that. I did catch one question, I think, in the middle of one presentation. It was for Cailey. I see one. And Irene says, Cailey, you spoke about girls, but are there any similar trends that you've seen for teen boys? I think men's skincare is really a rising consumer product. What do you think, Cailey?
I've seen, I forgot what the app is called, but I think it's like for recommendations or something. Like on TikTok, I see a lot of influencers, both male and female. They're emphasizing that skincare isn't just about looks, but it's also emphasizing hygiene and confidence, which is also a masculine trait, which is something they're trying to grow too. There's a lot of like celebrity endorsements as well, like male celebrities, athletes, and I've even seen like K-pop stars, singers, like male singers. They've started sharing their skincare routines, and that's kind of like normalizing it for boys too. Um, I notice when I go into stores now, I think the branding for skincare and I think makeup too, it's more unisex and it's not just women, which I think is also a really big impact because it's showing that boys can also use these products. Um, Another thing I've realized is like acne skincare. It's universal. It's not just girls. So I think this has like allowed boys to also come into the conversation because they also struggle with acne. They can also be involved in the skincare conversation. Um, but I think also recently, like there's a growing shift in like how masculinity is perceived. I feel like it's becoming more acceptable or like encouraged for boys to take more pride in their appearance and their self-care. Yeah, Sophia.
I remember like when I was a kid, I like try and use makeup and put random eyeshadow like on my nose and stuff. But like I feel like these kids are somewhat doing the same. Do you just think that the like pendulum has swung too far and that they're overexposed to these nice products, or is it just like they want to be like us? Is it a bit of both? Like, what do you think?
I feel like when we were younger, it was more so the influence of our mothers or more like family members. Because I don't know about you guys, but I was more like I didn't get a phone until I got older. So the only influence I had was from like older cousins and my mom. But I feel like now recently parents are giving electronic devices and are giving social media to their kids at such a young age. Like I'm hearing them give their kids like 4, 5, 6. Like it's crazy. And I feel like because that's such a normalized thing now, they're just copying these social media influencers. And there's kind of a shift between just um our family members or like family friends to now it's just social media.
Thank you so
Questions.
much, Cailey. Yeah, other questions from our audience? Anyone from our, and feel free to come off mute and give your question, or you could put it in the chat and we'll read it.
Look around if anyone has questions, and I think I see E.
Okay. Why is makeup bad for you?
I think that's a question for Cailey.
It's not necessarily bad. I think people can take it different ways. I just think that there's an age where it's an acceptable thing to use. And there's a lot of different things that go into that. But makeup is perfectly acceptable. You know, you can express yourself. It can help with appearance. It's not bad.
Thank you, Cailey. And I think you expressed that well in your presentation too. I'm glad you brought that up about self-expression and having that and considering the cultures of different peoples and families. Absolutely. So great question from EE's family. Thank you so much. Any other questions for Cailey, Sophia, Samira? Because I have one question that came in my mind, but first let me call on you, Sophia. Looks like you have a question.
This is for Samira, but I know that you said that a bunch of trends on TikTok, they come quickly, die quickly. Do you think that's going to happen with TikTok Shop, or is that just, do you think TikTok Shop's going to keep growing and keep being a thing, or is it going to die out soon?
I feel like TikTok Shop, because it's like it's different from micro trends in that it's not really just, it's like different sectors of TikTok have different products that are continuously being promoted. Depends on your algorithm, really. So I think it's different because it's not something that's as mainstream. It just depends on what pops up on your For You page, really. But I feel like I feel like it will die out. It won't be as long term as other forms of promoting products, because I just think it's very niche in that, like, the fact that anyone can promote any product and earn a commission is just kind of unique. And like TikTok Shop is not, like, no other platform really has that. So I think it'll die out eventually, but I don't think it's the exact same as microtrends, because they're kind of, I don't know, they're like a specific product, like a specific microtrend will fade out quickly, but TikTok Shop kind of, you can sell anything on it.
I think it was really powerful, Samira, in your presentation where you talked about why influencers have such a big influence because of the trust and the loyalty that we feel, right? And that advertising really now is changing, and that seeing an ad for a purse versus your favorite influencer wearing that purse, it gives a whole different sensation. And that really is the power medium now with influencers. And perhaps the survival or the expansion or, you know, continuation of TikTok Shop might be linked to how much the products there are linked to, you can point to influencers using it too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like really interesting how like some people have such a connection to influencers. It's like a parasocial relationship where like they've never met this person, but they trust them like a friend and they feel like they're their friend. Like you'll even see in comment sections, like people feel like they're entitled to know about these people's personal lives because they feel like they've given a little bit of their life, so they deserve more. And so I think that's also a really big part of loyalty, is because they truly believe this person is their friend.
And I like that you brought up that phrase. I'll put in the chat for anyone to look it up on Google because it's a real thing. Parasocial relationships, definitely worth reading into and learning more about. All right, Abby, I think you got a question for us.
Yeah, well, I'm struck actually that sort of a common theme across all three of your presentations is related to influencers and the role that they play in our decision making. Sophia, what's interesting in your presentation about influencers is that there don't seem to be a whole lot of influencers pushing going outside. And isn't that maybe an interesting potential opportunity, because influencers do have such an influence on our behaviors. So just a sort of striking to me that there are places where influencers are doing a lot of activity and other places where they're not.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing, but the more you promote going outside, the less people are looking at you on a screen, right? So where's the incentive for the influencer? But maybe they could be like 50-50, people spend 50% of your time. I don't know, but you're right. Like, they are the power medium, right? The messenger. And if they can give some of these positive messages that we're trying to promote, it would be incredible influence. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
And Sophia, I just want to follow up, it's many people are glued to their devices, including adults, maybe even more so than young people. And so the type of self-awareness that you are demonstrating here is really quite exceptional. I really want to just pause for a moment and just recognize how truly exceptional it is, and how rare it is for you to have the self-awareness already at this early journey in your life. And I'm just curious, like, what made the difference for you? Because as a parent, I really want to know. I want to know what drew you to this topic. Was it something that clicked for you, something that you're like, this is really important?
That's a really good question. I am still very much glued to my phone sometimes, but my basketball coach, he talked to me a lot about like nutrition and how a lot of your body is affected just by going outside. Like, your limbic system actually like benefits from like seeing things move past you, like trees and dogs or whatever. Um, and honestly, it's these podcasts from the Huberman Lab that I put on my presentation. I can email them or send the link to specific ones later, but it was just kind of like, geez, like, we have a beautiful world and we're just glued to a tiny little rectangle. And it's just kind of like, the phone's still going to be there when you get back from your walk, but it's not always going to be like nice weather outside. And I just kind of reflected of thinking, like, when I went to a soccer camp and I wasn't allowed to have my phone for a week, and I came back and I was like, wait, the world is actually like bright. Like, it's not just like black and white. So in a very hippy dippy sense, just kind of take the time and really ask yourself if you're benefiting from doom scrolling or like spamming YouTube videos, and see how like your behavior and physical and mental happiness change when you do other things that you enjoy.
Thank you so much, Sophia. And I think you've said a couple of things that just really resonate, and to be quite honest, sometimes the barrier to this, sometimes the biggest obstacle are the adults. When you said you went to soccer camp and you didn't have your phone. My daughter's about to go to a DC trip with her 8th grade class, and I asked the teachers, who are managing the trip, what's the phone policy? And they said, oh, well, kids can have their phones. And I'm like, but why? And they're like, well, you parents are the ones who demand that you can reach your kids at any time, any day. And so if you don't want the kids to have phones on this trip or have a limitation, then talk to the other parents, was what she said to me. So, there's a lot to consider there. But again, what are we giving up, right? Is what you're asking us to consider. Thank you.
I want to call on EE. I see your hand up.
Yeah, my question was for you, Sophia. I was curious about your thoughts on school mandated screen time. There was a report some research done recently. I think 11-year-olds are getting more screen time than teens actually, because a lot of schoolwork requires it, and their brains are changing because of it. But how do you get around that? I have a kid who's sitting here who's in the sixth grade, and he has to do a lot of his work on a computer, right? So like how just what are your thoughts on how schools might consider some of the information you shared?
That's a really good point. I relate it to this girl that I tutor. One of her homework assignments is like 30 minutes of this online like game that like teaches math and English, but she's not really learning. She's just waiting to get the right answer. Um, and the teacher's not teaching, they're just using these online platforms. I think it honestly changed a lot with the pandemic. I remember like fifth and sixth grade, like everything I had was on worksheets. And then eighth grade math came and it was all online, pair decks, presentations, and I wasn't learning. So I think teachers just need to like I'm not trying to like hate on teachers, but they need to kind of be more hands-on with learning. A lot of I don't learn from the screen. Like I just get the assignment done, and you learn better like taking notes with like black and blue pen instead of just typing everything. Like you're not really taking the information. So I think if teachers want their students to success and prepare for their academic future, then we need to go back in time again with curriculum and just kind of hop off the screen, because a lot of kids also use screen time, video games with their friends, or my family and we do like TV nights together. We like sit there and watch TV. So I think it's unhealthy to expect 2 hours of screen time when a majority of it is like supposed to be homework time. There's not really an answer for you there, but I'm sorry.
Thank you. I just wanted to hear your opinion.
Thank you, Edie, and thank you, Sophia. And I'm seeing another question for you, Sophia, in the chat from Irene, and I'm going to read it out loud for Irene. So, quote, Sophia, I feel that in the past, the way people let off steam or relax at the end of the day was discussing with family or friends. Now I feel many people use their devices to avoid social interactions. What do you think?
I definitely agree. If I like see someone in public, I'll like open my weather app and like pretend I'm busy and don't see them. But yeah, I think it's very important to again have the in-person interactions, because like you feel a much deeper connection with eye contact and presence physically. And with avoiding social interactions through your device, you're not really addressing the issue. You still have the issue. You're just kind of pushing it to the side and waiting to deal with it later. So I think we just kind of have to not mature necessarily, but kind of be the bigger person and take the high road of putting yourself first and going through a little bit of hard to enjoy the rest of your day. So.
Yeah, it's well said. And I'm in big agreement with you, Sophia, right away. I agree. Thank you, Irene, for asking that great question. I do have another question for Samira, for me, actually, because I'm not that familiar with TikTok, embarrassingly. I should know more about TikTok, but only because I don't pay attention. When TikTokers promote a product, do they always announce that they are being sponsored? And is it clear? Is it subtle? What have you been seeing?
So more social media sites are like kind of cracking down on this and like making sure that people are saying when they're promoting a product. I know especially for TikTok Shop, it's very obvious. It says like earns a commission, but for other paid promotions that are just like through a brand directly, it can be deceiving. Like it can be hard to tell. Like a lot of times I'll notice when people have like a bunch of hashtags with like a brand and they tag them. And so like I think there's ways that can seem obvious to some people, but maybe to others they aren't catching that. So yeah, it is kind of interesting. It's not, I know Instagram is cracking down on that. They're making people put like hashtag ad, but I don't think TikTok's doing that same thing. So it is kind of interesting that people don't, that they kind of like skews when is the influencer telling me like the real opinions or when are they being paid.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. I was a little familiar with Instagram and YouTube, not so much TikTok, but good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, and it feels like this stuff should be part of media literacy education, right? We often think media literacy it's important, like misinformation and disinformation and that type of thing, but really like how it works, how marketing works, should be part of literacy being taught in schools.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm seeing another question. Carissa, I'm seeing your hand. How's it going?
Hi, yes, I have been very encouraged by all this discussion, and I had a question for Kaylee. I was wondering, when we were thinking about makeup, I know a lot of people talk about how makeup can also be used as a form of art. I know you mentioned self-expression, and at the same time, obviously at young ages or when people are using it to change how they look, it obviously becomes very harmful. And so I'm curious about what you think about where the line is between using makeup for good and for something that's creative and interesting, and using makeup in a way that is harmful for yourself and for those around you. Is there ways that you think parents can teach children to think about that as they get into their teenage years and older, or even for yourself to be thinking about makeup or beauty products or skincare in general that you think helps find that balance?
I think it definitely depends on the type of child and the kind of parent that they have. For example, I've seen examples on TikTok where kids are experimenting with like different color eyeliner, and they're doing like drawings on their eyelid, like testing out different sketches and stuff with different colors, which of course is amazing, and it's showing how artistic they are. But if they I think if they're the type of person who is just focused on feeding into trends and just all that kind of stuff instead of prioritizing art, like I think you can definitely tell what kind of kid they are. I think that's where the line is drawn between creative and art, or just feeding into trends, if that makes sense. And then again, it's just up to the parent for what they're gonna allow. Because my mom, when I was a kid, my mom would like, she wouldn't encourage me, but she would like be like, she'd be with okay with whatever I wanted. Like I didn't start wearing makeup until I think like middle school, but I think kids this generation now, they're starting to wear it more in elementary school, and I just think that's really interesting, and it was really alarming to me when I found that out.
Mhm. Thank you. And thank you, Carissa, for that question. All right. It looks like we have reached the end of this hour, and I'm seeing a lot of great, thankful comments for you, wonderful three people, our presenters. Great job there. And yeah, before I conclude, I just want to make say one last thing, that this was all because of the summer internship we had this summer. I want to thank for those of us who supported our programs, as we have other team programs as well. And I want if I hope you all took a lot from today's presentations, but also think about our team programs. If you want to learn more, you can visit our website, our teen empowerment page, and spread the word about these programs, because we are still accepting teens to join our year-round teen advisory board. And later in the school year, we're going to be opening up applications for our next summer internship program in 2025. So thank you everyone for coming here tonight and listening into these incredible presentations. And I hope to hold more of these this school year, because that was 3 of 16 of our incredible summer interns who have researched and done incredible work in their topics of their choice. Any final words from Rachie and Abby?
Omar, I just want to say, I just had the idea that, for the teens who have participated in our programs, we would love to stay in touch with you and invite you back to, as things shift for you and you develop and grow, to hear your perspectives as a young adult, and whether doing this type of work has shaped your behavior in your life after high school. So please stay in touch with us. And thank you so much for teaching us. It clearly shows how critical and how much we have to learn from young people. So thank you for setting that example.
Thank you all for joining us. I know a lot of folks have hit their bedtimes, either for kids or themselves. But we're grateful for everyone joining us. And thank you, Sophia, Cailey, and Samira for sharing all of your thoughts. And with that, we'll say good night. Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
Good night.
everybody.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. Yeah, happy
Have a good
holidays.
night.
Bye. Great job, Samira. Bye. Thank you, Tamara, for coming.
Of course. Good
Good to
night.
see you.
Good night.
Good night.